Sipha, you were telling me in the previous hour that the president has come out and said, well, look, it's not actually our problem. It was the buyer's responsibility and the person who brought the currency into the country to declare it. JJ, I want to bring you in here.
Yeah.
What do you make of all of this?
It's crazy. Unfortunately, John Steenhuisen is right that the president is seen now as forum shopping. In other words, in simple English, want to go to any institution that could find him a little less guilty of this, what John called a murky situation. It's really an unbelievable story. And every day some other, sort of brick of information comes in that's making it worse. In other words, you have to go back to what has been said, that Phala will not disappear, not at least in front of the opposition parties. It can disappear in the ANC. They can ignore it for 5 days or 7 days, and nobody even raises it, which is quite extraordinary. But in Parliament, the opposition knows that with 12 months or so to the elections, this is probably, besides the electricity, this will be one of their campaigning tools. And they're not going to, they'll be like a dog on a bone. That ad hoc committee, unless it's a miracle, will have to be in place, even if a court orders it to be so.
Sipha, do you expect the president to even speak about this at all tonight? Or do you think he's going to stick strictly to changes in his cabinet?
We expect him to stick to the script and not divert. Of course, knowing him and how he does not like to take questions from the media, he will not even entertain questions from the media. He will just address the nation and leave it at that. So if you just take into account the fact that President Ramaphosa is not someone who would like to entertain other issues, what I would call side issues, the issue of Phala, as I agree with Prof. Tabane, is that it's not going to go away. It will take its time. It will always be there, even beyond President Ramaphosa's administration and term of office. Even if he does get a second term as the President of the Republic, the Phala scandal will always be part of his administration and part of his legacy. It doesn't matter what happens moving forward. It's going to be a very difficult year for President Ramaphosa because he would have to keep on defending this Phala scandal, and his, allies within the ANC will have to keep on closing ranks and defending him. They've never learned from the past. They did the same thing with former President Jacob Zuma. For political convenience, they decided to close ranks and defend what was clearly not something that they should have defended. So they never learned anything from the previous lessons. And those people who continue to defend the president were there previously. So today he's going to come in and address the nation, announce those changes to the executive, and he will walk away because he is someone who is not really keen on taking questions from the media. Even if you look at the setup of how this announcement is going to be made, the public broadcaster will be supplying the pool to all broadcasters, meaning there will be no journalists inside that room. It will be technical people who will be manning the cameras and the president talking to the cameras, addressing the nation. After that, he will walk away because he simply knows that if he opens up the opportunity for questions, there is no way that hours before making this announcement, there is that breaking news story about the tax authority saying we have no record of the declaration of those $580,000 US. So we know nothing about that. It's the biggest story in a sense that it's huge if you take into account what the Sudanese businessman has said that he declared that. Of course, it's the spin. The presidency will always try to defend him. They are saying, well, it's not the responsibility of the president to declare that money, is the responsibility of someone who's bringing into South Africa to declare that, of which in a way it's factual, they are correct, but it doesn't end there. There is more to it. The president has a responsibility. This happened at his farm. He has to account. So no matter how you look at it, the Phala scandal will continue to be there, and it's something that he will not wish away because opposition political parties will play on that leading to the elections. And also remember, there are those outstanding investigations by the Office of the Public Protector. Many people are running out of patience with that office to say, what's the hold-up? How much more time do you need? In January, you said you had completed your first draft. You are sending it through internal quality controls. When are you going to release your final draft or your final report? or rather because this matter is in the public interest. So it's going to be interesting moving forward as to how the president plans to deal with this.
Sipha, as you were chatting, an announcement has just come up. And I think, we were giggling about the fact that there's such a long delay in the line between our questions and you hearing and being able to respond. I think it was an omen because we've just heard word from the presidency that actually the televised address, yes, have a look at your phone, is now going to happen at 8 o'clock this evening. So it's 2 months plus an extra hour now. I'm going to give you a chance to read that message, Sipha, while I say to JJ, I mean, why? Why this change? Do you think it could be that the president is maybe going, all right, hang on, do I need to talk about Phala Phala? Do you think? No?
Yeah. Well, you can't rule out anything, but I don't think he will. I agree with Sipha that, listen, they were there for 5 days at the conference. This was the perfect chance for him to talk to his own comrades and say, guys, this is what happened, and sort of do what they say. There's a new term now, take us into your confidence. He didn't do it there with his comrades for 5 plus 2 days. So why would he do it today when, in fact, there's less of an explanation that can make sense after SARS says, oh, we know nothing. So I think we must forget that. He's going to just stick to the thing. But the Phala Phala thing is framing, and I would want to hear, Sally, what your view is on this as well. The Phala Phala thing is framing this cabinet reshuffle in which way? If he doesn't appoint proper allies or he removes proper enemies, he's going to be in trouble. So he may be, sort of walking a tightrope to make sure he doesn't irritate too many people, right? And also reward those who have kept him in place. You
were talking earlier about how his political opponents, in the opposition parties are just going to use this as a stick to beat him. But let's not forget his political opponents from within the party. He may have a lot of strength, and we're all saying he's in a very strong position. But frankly, until Phala Phala is laid to rest, it is going to dangle over his head like a sword of Damocles. And it's interesting that this news comes out. I mean, is it coincidence? It probably is, because SARS would have just released the information as it came to them, because that was, they are legally required to do so. We are going to take a little bit of a break, but I do just want to get one last quick comment from Sipha about this delay. Is it just probably par for the course, maybe just a technical glitch?
I don't think it's a technical glitch. I think it talks to the issue of how difficult some of the decisions that he has to make are, because remember, he has had to consult with alliance partners. It's a difficult balancing act for him, even within the ANC itself. He needs to get this right, because his political survival depends on this. Is he going to purge people who contested him or who did not support him ahead of the 2022 Congress? Is he going to keep them inside his cabinet and alienate those who supported him? Remember, President Ramaphosa is a president who's on a departure lounge. It doesn't matter how you look at it. As the president of the ANC, he's entering his second term, which will make him a lame duck president after the 2024 general election. So there are many factors that he needs to take into account. The performance of the ANC in the elections will basically determine his fate moving forward. But also this cabinet reshuffle, is he going to reward people who supported him ahead of Nasrec? Is he going to get rid of those people who are not performing? Is this cabinet reshuffle necessitated by the fact that it's in the best interest of the people of South Africa, or it's just ANC internal politics at play? So these delays that you see, an hour is a long time for him to continue with consultations. You may even find that some of the people that he's going to appoint have not been called in yet. He is still going to call them in because he does not want this thing to leak. So it could be that he's managing this announcement, but at the same time trying to allay fears of those that he's going to fire and also please those that he's going to appoint, and at the same time trying to keep the alliance happy.